Welcome to the VERAfied podcast.
Live!
Podcasters, I don't even know which camera it is because you know what? This is the first one. This is episode 11. First one we're doing live. I'm going to tell you right now, we are at Grapplers Quest Central at UOG Calvo Fieldhouse. I'm going to tell you right now, people.
Man.
I'm usually at the Agana Heights Truth Studio to do this show, but I knew I was home because I saw my brothers. We got Brandon the Truth Vera.
What up?
And the Chief, Franklin Ariel. What's up?
Yep.
Gentlemen.
Episode 11. Episode 11.
Let's go.
Guys, live.
Live.
Oh, man. Yeah. At the UOG Fieldhouse, nonetheless.
Oh, my God. I
What
tell
is
you what.
going on?
We have a full show.
Yeah.
And I want to get, I know everybody wants to talk about this weekend's event, right? 300 plus participants. I mean, it's just amazing.
Ton of matches.
A lot of mat time for everyone in the community.
Including BV. He's going to roll with some of the kids.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
Yeah, so the kids that don't have matches, happens a lot. We decided that they needed to have a match. I'm not giving out medals. Grapplers Quest,
of course.
We're not giving out
Gotta earn
participation
stuff.
medals. You got to earn. So I called some of the students, some of the athletes. I talked to their parents. I talked to them. I asked if they wanted to sweat, if they wanted to earn their medal, if they wanted to roll with me and show me their skills so that they can earn their medal. Yeah. All of them said yes.
You see that?
Yeah.
That's going to be a trip.
The generosity of the truth, man. Thank you, B. Frank, B.
Yeah.
We can't do any of this stuff
unless
we get those absolutely wonderful supporters, our brand partners.
Yep.
That's recognized from the very beginning. Guam Army National Guard.
Guam Army National Guard. Thank you very
for
much.
your service.
Beautiful.
Thank you for your assistance. Love it.
Okay, VERAfied podcast also brought to us by the Three Blind Mice. Usually Three Blind Mice is four people. Now we got 780 people behind this live booth.
Plus 1,000 outside, so he called it the Three Blind Army right now.
He's
Three
panning
Blind
over.
Tribe.
Yeah.
All right.
The homeboys. Getting it
We
done.
also have Guam Windward Memorial. God bless you, Bobby, and those guys. Sabrina,
The family.
Rob.
You got to get your plot today, man. Oh.
Truth Apparel. Speaking of which, look at this new Truth gear.
New drops.
Come on.
Stay tuned on social media. We'll be all over there this weekend. All
Thank you,
over
Chief.
it.
Franklin.
Got some new stuff.
That cap. Oh, that cap is just sick.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. VERAfied podcast also
VERAfied
brought to you
podcast.
by Mariana's Esports.
Yeah. That's going to be a big one. Grappler Quest
Mobile
tomorrow.
Legends.
Absolutely. We have our boy, Ken LePay, Brand Inc.
Red Ink.
Brandon, thank you very much.
Okay.
I appreciate you
Guys,
and all the boys, all the help.
You can see this in the background. Fence Masters, man.
Fence Masters. Don Weekly Jr., thank you, sir.
Oh,
Appreciate the
man.
support.
Acai Roots.
Acai Roots.
Troy Anciano, my boy, GPD.
Brother Troy. Oh, my
UOG
God.
Tritons.
What a
Ignite
great dude.
Juice.
Ignite
Ignite,
Juice.
there you go.
man.
Thank you,
you,
Ignite.
guys.
GTA.
Bro, there you go. GTA, Michelle,
We wouldn't
Nathan,
be podcasting without GTA.
Andrew
just so
Gale,
You know.
That's right.
Typhoon Proof.
Joe,
Dan
Rollin,
Tadico,
all
Rollins
of them.
Orteza,
Yeah, right.
Joe Petey, Joe Billy Jim Bob, all of them.
All of them.
All right. We have a full show. Just going to tease you real quick. Grapplers Quest, that's why we're here at the UOG Calvo Fieldhouse. We've got just an amazing tournament that's going to be coming up. Grapplers Quest, most prolific for the last 20 years in submission and the founder and CEO. I don't know, God, is he in the house? Maybe we can have a guest.
Yeah.
Oh,
First guest.
BC.
This
First
could be our
guest ever.
guest.
All
Yeah,
right.
First guess.
But we're going to get right
On the
into
podcast.
our first feature, Truth Be Told.
Here we go.
Let's
All right,
go.
gentlemen. Truth, Chief.
Okay.
Here we go.
Truth be told.
Grapplers Quest has made its official debut on Guam. I mean, here it is, right?
Yes, sir.
What impact is GQ going to have for Guam's BJJ practitioners, wrestlers, and athletes, especially our island's youth?
Before I let him answer that question, I do want to give some background context to this conversation at Grapplers Quest. We were out in the Philippines for his fight, December 2022.
The final.
Yeah, we were doing
retirement
stuff,
fight,
you
yes,
know, and
sir.
we're talking post fighting career. The first thing out of his mouth, Grapplers Quest, bro. My boy Brian Simmons, we got to get it together. We're like, shoot.
What's that?
Yeah, I you know, okay. And here we are. So to your question, B, can you address what Johnny's asking?
And I just want to add to that. The only thing crazier than Brother Brandon saying, I want to do this, is Frank doesn't hesitate. He says, yeah, okay. All right.
Yeah, sure.
I think
What's
maybe
that? Let's
2024.
Yeah,
And here we are, people.
yeah.
That's why these are my brothers. All right. G, Let's do this. Let's.
Yes, sir.
You tell me, how is this going to change the island's youth? Not just BJJ practitioners and wrestlers and athletes, but our kids. B, talk to me.
You know, like when I first talked about Grapplers Quest and when we first talked about the island and what Guam has meant to me, the wife, the family, and us in the Philippines, Guam has been good to us. And man, I can't explain it any better than the week of our wedding was scheduled to rain every day. I think it was rainy season, scheduled to rain every day. It rained every day until our wedding day. The sun came out.
Oh, there you go.
And the rain came back at midnight, right when we ended
How about
our
that?
reception.
There you go.
Just in that perfect week of how Guam treated us that week, she's been treating us like that every day that we're on island. From the people to the culture to how the island is to us, you know? And I talk about the island like she's alive because I believe she's alive. I believe
Of course, yeah, you bet.
it's Guam. You know?
Spirit, right?
So between that and the Philippines, I wanted to decide how I could be of service, of use, of support, and giving back to the island. And I don't know, retiring was hard, and finding a path and looking for a path. I tried a bunch of different things. I want to see what can light the fire under my ass again. But I've always known that I wanted to do something with Grapplers Quest because for me, that was the beginning of the journey for me. Granted, I was already at the Olympic Training Center. I was already traveling. I was already competing around the world. But Grapplers Quest put everything into focus. We already have tournaments on island. We have PatGon. We have Mariana's Open. We have, I know I'm forgetting a bunch of other ones, you know, but there's a bunch of tournaments on island from jiu-jitsu to no-gi to
Brawl,
MMA to
MMA,
brawl, you
yeah.
know. There's a bunch of stuff on island already. So what can I do?
And God bless them all, right?
All of them,
Yeah,
man.
absolutely.
Like, this is how we move forward together as one. I wanted to be able to give back tournament fashion that I would want to create. I wanted to dream of.
Yeah.
I dreamt of having acai there. I dreamt of having video games there. I dreamt of having stuff for kids to do, bounce houses and playing outside.
Eli Jumper.
They're
here.
They're
Shout
here. You
out
know,
Eli's, yeah.
I wanted to have the biggest, safest mats that heavyweights can get thrown on. You know,
Yeah.
I'm a heavyweight, man. When I get hit those little mats,
Yep.
those hurt, man. You know,
Yeah.
so I wanted to give something, an experience. I wanted to become an event that people would remember and talk about. Not just a grappling tournament, not just a. And listen, man, I learned this from one championship. Living this dream, speaking this dream, hoping that the dream can come forth, connecting with everyone that we talk about always on the show, from Guam Army National Guard to Three Blind Mice to you, Chief, to you, Kuya JM, to our other partner, Kuya Lloyd, who's not here right now. All of this kind of just came together. Everybody started pooling their resources. Everybody started talking. Everybody started saying, hey, this is the dream. So
Yeah, it's
now, as
great.
the dream
It's
came
great.
back together more and more, it's starting to become a reality.
Yeah.
We started facing different adversities, different challenges as producing Grapplers Quest, making things happen. What happened? We talked again. How can we still benefit the island? How can we do all this and still make it cooler? How can
Yeah.
we make this better? Let's make it free.
Yeah.
Let's make this
That was
thing
a big
free.
one.
That was the big one. Man, I didn't know,
Yeah.
you know. Can we cover our costs?
Yeah.
Because, you know, our first guest later on can talk about the cost of a tournament. But for our partners to be able to take care of everything so that we
Which
can
they
offer-
did. Which they did. They came through like champs. Our partners, whether it's in kind, labor of love, they came through, and we would be remiss, you know. We can't thank them. I certainly can't thank them
we can't.
enough. You know, the GTA folks who are in here, like I said, Fence Masters is here, Brand Inc., Kenny LePay and their group's here, 3BM, Three Blind Mice guys are here.
You mentioned Eli.
Eli Jumper,
right?
You know-
Kyle, we brought in Kyle Holcook from Saipan. Shout out to our
Next
social media
level.
Kyle.
Next
right?
level, Kyle.
Pepsi.
Pepsi. John Denied over there. We had
Mid-pack.
last night we had the training at Rome de la Cruz's over at
Over at
Fuckeye.
Fuckeye.
You know?
Solid. Shout out to Rome.
So when they say it takes a village, literally Guam became the village to take care of this.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Yep.
thank you to all of our partners over and
Yeah.
over again, and thank you for letting us being able to offer this for free.
Yeah.
That being said, moving forward, I think Grapplers Quest here on Guam, because of the partners, I think will always be free on the island of Guam.
You're here.
Okay, did you hear that?
You're here.
Did you hear that, people?
You bet.
Always
Absolutely.
be
You know,
free. I mean,
always-
that's just amazing. That is
Make the mark, baby. Make
and
the
I
mark.
think, Frank, I think the key there is that, I mean, it's really being expressed by Brendan today and our team. This is not about making money, man. This is not
Yeah.
profit driven.
Yeah.
No.
And I
Not at
think
all.
the other thing that shouldn't be lost here, Frank, is you touched on it, right? You mentioned the training was at Fuckeye. Well,
Yeah.
you know, you own your own clothing line,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Right? And so I think what we're showing is that this is about collaboration
Community.
for the community.
It's community, right?
And
Yes,
that
sir.
I just think that's a beautiful thing. There's that kind of idea, Frank, that people think, oh God, this is a competition to, you know,
Anything.
Marianas and everything. And what happens is, man, we can collaborate, we can enhance, we can complement each other. You know?
Yeah, you know, Johnny, like in life, right? A combat sport, a team sport, they just reflect what life is, right? There are challenges, there's individual responsibility, there's liberty to come here and compete. But most importantly, you know, we have kids on Guam.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
We have drug problems here. It's horrible. The crime. We all know that.
Yeah.
This is kind of one way that we think. Hey, listen. Let's get the kids off the street. Let's get them when they're young. And I know some of these names, right?
Yes, sir.
David Beneventi, David Tuncap, right? It's a black belt guy. FD, 02 or 04, Dave. Sorry if I got you the wrong one. But his daughter Alana is wrestling. Richard Royal, the DLM deputy director. His son
Richie.
Seth. You spoke to
the
him.
Blues Boys,
Yeah.
yes,
So
sir.
Seth's gonna roll with DV tomorrow. So we know it. We know
Seth,
everybody,
get ready,
right?
Seth.
Right. The autos. You know, all the gyms are coming out. It's gonna be really cool.
And then just a
Pure
shout
bread,
out.
Yeah, all of them.
Even the
Yeah, Gabe
number
Baker.
of volunteers that we're getting, right?
Yeah.
My goddaughter Sia, shout out to Sia Uggan. My son Max Moftis is going to come out and volunteer.
Oh, the volunteers.
But I tell you what,
Yeah. Yeah.
you guys are important, right? And obviously, right, we're going to get BC here, but we're not giving the shout out to like the person that really kind of runs the show. Got to give love to Ninja.
Oh,
Yo,
Come on, brother.
my big boss, Ninja. Thank you beyond measure. Thank you beyond any words that I could ever express in my vocabulary, even if I was to learn new ones. Thank you every day of my life for making life so beautiful and easy.
Yeah.
Thank you for taking care of our son while this craziness happens and letting our crazy life happen. I love you. Man, Hungwaiza how mahal.
oh.
Thank you
See
very
that?
much.
And
Hey, you got a hybrid on that one, dog. Ungwatza mahal.
what a great segue to Valentine's Day. All right.
Oh, yeah. Oh, snap.
Hey,
Get your truth apparel.
Whoa.
there you go.
Get your sweetheart. Our truth
I like
apparel
that, Frank.
gear.
There's still that business component in
plug,
Frank,
gotta
right? That
plug it, gotta
entrepreneur
plug it.
comes out, right? Love, Valentine's, and get her a sweater. All right. Okay. Thanks, guys. We're going to move on to our next segment. Director saying,
Oh, move
let's
on.
go, let's go.
Okay, let's do it.
So, truth or BS?
Oh.
All right. This is
Favorite
where
one.
I
Okay.
give Brandon and Frank a statement, and they tell me if it's a bunch of bullshit or if it's real, if it's truth. All right. First one.
And
First
he
statement.
always asks like questions that, in my opinion, you just can't go. Go ahead.
Yeah. You
But
know.
I'll give him my best shot.
There's no right or wrong answer
Yeah.
in the middle.
Absolutely. You gave me the keys to the bus, right? We're going on the edge. Okay. First statement. Ron DeSantis suspending his candidacy makes the re-election of Donald Trump in this year's presidential election a guarantee.
No guarantees in life, but when DeSantis suspended his campaign and threw his support over to Donald Trump, and we've been in losing campaigns, John, before.
Yeah, we have.
We know how hard that is to do. Just, the guy.
Swallow the pill. You gotta swallow.
It's like getting your head beat, warrior, right?
Bang.
And you got to say, okay,
Yeah.
all right.
And you got to stand
man.
with him while he's
Yeah.
holding his trophy.
But
And announce he's the winner.
and announce and hold his hand up,
but
right?
there are some who are very gracious.
Yes.
in defeat. Those guys go a long way.
Yes,
right.
sir.
And so, with DeSantis, I think that's truth.
Yep.
But now we go back to Nikki Haley. She's fighting this. She's got a lot of this corporate rhino stuff behind her.
gonna say, a
pushing
lot of
hard.
big donors
And,
behind her,
and I'll tell
Frankie.
you, A lot
so
of
bad.
the diehard Republican conservative, the Trump, the MAGA folks are like, you're hanging yourself with this one, you know. But I think she's going to go to South Carolina, her home state. You have to defend the turf, right?
Yeah.
The home.
She's going to get smashed, and she's going to realize, shit, I need to get out of here. So, but I think Trump's going to be the nominee for sure, no question.
So I think we can pretty much say Chief
Truth.
says, yeah, it's truth. All right.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. I'm
Me?
with Chief. I'm with Chief on this one. Truth all the way. I think it was very classy how Ron bowed out and then immediately threw support to the Don.
To the Don.
I'm also with him.
Democrats, when you say that, they're like, he's not a Don.
Because they can't say to the Joe.
Yeah.
You know?
To the handicapped child that's running the program over there.
BC's got that.
But also,
French face up.
DeSantis was very gracious, as was Vivek Ramaswamy.
Yes, sir.
And Senator Tim Scott.
Absolutely.
And Governor Doug
Everyone.
Burgum. Yeah. They're all-
Except
Yeah.
Nikki Haley. And what you said, though, is kind of, I always throw it back to the saying of what Trump said. Sometimes you have to let them see.
Yeah, for sure.
So now you can see, what are you in this race for? What are you doing? Like you said, the big donors, the big sponsors are like, go, go, go. Why? There's no common sense, no wherewithal of why she's still in the race. Like, doesn't make any sense, except for the fact you said you have to defend the home state. But even then, I don't think. We'll watch.
A lot of Republicans are saying, well, all you're doing is just taking money, which can go to the down ballot, right? The U.S. Senate races, the U.S. Congress races, the
Yes, sir.
mayoral, the gubernatorial, nationwide.
Sure.
Right? A lot of that attention it's being deflected by Haley still battling with Trump. So that
Sure.
down ballot problem is, you could be focusing on there. Right?
And you weren't even number 2 anywhere.
Yeah. In New Hampshire, but it was a 2-horse race.
Yeah. And in New Hampshire, we won't even talk about who they let vote.
Yeah, 40% Democrat and independents.
Come
And
on,
I tell you
man.
what,
Yeah.
I'm sure Nikki Haley
Sorry.
is out there watching the VERAfied podcast. So I'm
Nikki,
just going to say,
love you,
Nikki,
baby.
in defense of you, the whistle hasn't been blown. You're still playing. I'm all good with that. All
Go
right.
retire. Go retire, woman.
Okay. You know, we've got coming up in a couple of weeks. Second statement, okay? The Super Bowl has become less about the actual football game and more about the halftime show and advertising. B? Truth or BS?
1,000, it's turned into a political stunt show. The halftime show used to be something that I look forward to, but now it's usually got some kind of hidden message or hidden agenda in it. And I don't like that the NFL allows their players to be politicized the way they do. I'm not a fan. And I guess the reason why I'm not a fan, the biggest reason why I'm not a fan is if you were to take a knee in front of me, I would ask you why you were disrespecting everyone. Not in an angry way. I would ask you because you could probably have a very good reason. But then as a football player, if you're making $30 million a year and then you give me some BS answer about BLM and you being oppressed, I'd probably kick you in the face with or without the helmet on, you know? So I'm not a fan of how these overpaid babies are whining a lot. And hold on. This being said, I do have friends in the NFL, and you know how I am. So I'm just speaking truth. You can't say anything, but I'll say it for you. I love you guys. The ones that I love. Thanks.
Chief, leave it to Brendan to give a profound answer about the halftime show.
Sorry.
And
Sorry.
the NFL Super Bowl, but
But he's on point. I mean, he's on point, right?
Yeah,
And,
that's
and,
true.
and so let me give you my perspective. I'm a football guy through and through. Love the game, love the sport, born and raised in all of it. Big NFL, big, especially college football. So now, college football, NIL, changing the landscape. Nick Saban says, fuck this, I'm out. I don't want it. That's why he left. These 18, 19-year-old kids are rolling into campus, gold-plated Rolls Royces, right? They may not be able to catch or throw a football, but they're still popular on Instagram, drawing in 3.5 million eyeballs onto their campus, so they get the $4 or $5 million a year deals. Okay, fine. Going back to the Super Bowl, it's the same thing, right? A couple weeks ago, we talked about Taylor Swift and the Chiefs, right? And I said, eyeballs to the fans. It was eyeballs.
Yeah.
But when you do that, you also give something up, right? And a lot of the players are they run a certain way, they do a certain thing, and they have kind of a leash on them, what they can say and what they can't say.
Correct.
And they get fined hard,
Yes.
right? And they get fined hard. Now, I think right now where the sport used to be, it was great to watch. It was a great sport to watch. Now it's just pure entertainment where the game itself is 50% of the Super Bowl product, right? Michael Jackson, Jennifer Lopez, you know, the whole gang, right? They all came out, they're all doing, and that became, you know, that's where like half the world audience came to see the concert at halftime.
Yes,
so,
sir. That's the other half.
Yeah, so it's really diluted the fun, in my opinion, of the game. Being a football fan, but you know that's where the money's at, and that's where they're going to.
So I think they call
Root of
that
all
statement
evil.
true, right?
True,
The,
yeah. True.
I was
Yeah.
watching a concert and a football game broke out,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Direct, which one is my camera? Because I keep looking at your handsome face. All right. Folks, you are tuning in to not just the VERAfied podcast, but the very first live episode. We
Yeah,
are
I know.
at the UOG
You have
Cabo
got a beep on that
Fieldhouse.
one.
We are set up for this weekend's event. We are in Guam, USA. It's amazing. Grapplers Quest coming. We've got an absolutely amazing, wonderful special guest coming in.
Yep.
Very first special guest ever on the show.
Yeah.
First time live. But we want to recognize all of our brand partners. Guam National Guard, Guam Army National Guard, Three Blind Mice, Guam Woodward Memorial, Truth Apparel, Grapplers Quest, Fence
GTA.
Masters, GTA,
Acai Root.
Brand
Ignite,
Inc, Aside
Brand
Roots,
Inc.
yeah. Eli's
Yeah, everybody.
Eli's
All of them.
Jumper. Ignite Juice.
Next Level. And so, thank you to you guys. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to be back in just a few minutes. All right, welcome back live. VERAfied podcast at the UOG Cabo studio. Field House. I don't know. We're just going to call this Truth.
Truth HQ.
Yeah, there you go.
Let's
Truth
do it.
HQ. Love it.
At
All
least
right.
for the day. At least
For the day, yep. For the
I'm
day.
John Moffness. You got Brandon the Truth Vera. You got the Chief Franklin Areola. And if you want to know who this fourth bald guy is,
Hey.
this is the CEO and founder of Grapplers Quest. Oh, the amazing Brian Simmons. Brian, welcome.
Thank you, my
Welcome,
brothers.
Brian.
Thank you, my brothers, for
Welcome
having
to the
me.
podcast.
Welcome.
My
Good to
goodness,
have you
listen, thank you for being in Guam. My God.
Yeah.
Brian, can I just tell everyone, do not adjust your sets. We are all bald.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
That was part of the gig. For Brian to come out and be the first guest, we told him he had to shave his head completely
There you
bald.
go.
He said he was down.
he said it was down.
Brian, welcome to Guam, man. Been here for a couple days, but I'm assuming you're loving it, yeah?
It's honestly, I think it can be considered United States' pearl of the Asia Pacific.
There you go.
Because I've met
That's-
so many beautiful people
You told me he was poetic.
from this entire region. They were wonderful. They have the same emotional family embrace that I look for in community building. Going anywhere, Guam was one of the most embracing communities. Everybody from start to finish, but just strangers I met while walking in in the middle of the ocean.
That's in the middle of the ocean. Yeah.
Brad and I were talking earlier. He said, "Yeah, we got to keep that a secret, though. We don't want all the people to come out to Guam and
Not everybody can know. Don't
turn
tell
us into
everybody.
Hawaii or something."
Yeah.
I got you.
America's best kept secret. All right. Brian, I'm sure your brother B here has got tons of questions, and the Chief as well. But I just want to, we've got Grapplers Quest. This was a discussion we had, as Frank and Brandon mentioned earlier. We had a discussion about this during his retirement fight, right? And now it's here. And you were the founder. How'd you get this off the ground 20 plus years ago?
So we started running events. I had actually gone to Gene LaBelle's Grapplers Challenge. It was back in 1997, 1996.
And I'm just curious, you were how old?
Oh, I was 19 years old.
Okay, sorry, B, go for it.
Please look up Gene LaBelle. If you don't know him, new grapplers, you might not know who Gene LaBelle
Used to
is.
be called Judo Gene
Yeah.
LaBelle.
Check that dude out. His form of art and training was, and still is, very, very effective.
Absolutely.
Sorry, I'm a fan of Gene LaBelle.
No,
Super fan.
me as well. And a lot of people, said a lot of things about Gokor, but Gokor was an amazing instructor, and he created Carl Parisian, the guy that I actually ended up competing against, which was like my, these kids going against Brandon Vera this weekend moment, was against Harut Terazan, who actually, probably a secret, like not many people know, probably was one of the best grapplers ever. He was just phenomenal, one of the best. Mark Lehman even said he used to destroy him, so I knew that he was great. So Harut, shout out, he's in Vegas. Hope he's well. Good guy. So I went to this tournament. We drove like 10 hours to get up to Toronto. It was actually in a hockey arena, and the actual they promised it was a gi and no gi event, but there was they promised that the BJJ would start at like 12 at like 12, and literally the no gi ended up starting at 9:30. It was a terrible experience, even though I loved it and I loved those guys. And I had a great match. I got destroyed by Harut. It was awesome, but humbling. And then he coached me for the third match, which showed me that community
That's
beauty
cool.
that was
Wow.
Grapplers Quest was built on. That moment right there, probably Harut doesn't even know that, but it was a moment where I was like, wow, like he just beat me. And Gokor and he were coaching me because they knew my coach wasn't he just wasn't a tournament guy. These guys were. And they were trying to help me for the third, fourth place match. It was pretty cool.
That's very cool.
Cool.
Yeah. So I came back, but I realized when I was out there that I didn't like how they treated it. It wasn't special just for the no-gi guys. It wasn't timely. It wasn't well balanced between the BJJ and the no-gi and separation of that. And for the athlete, it was really frustrating to warm up for 9 hours. I'm not anywhere near a professional fighter, but even as an amateur, it was terrible. So I came back home and I said, all the people I saw that were really talented, that were from New Jersey, from New York, and Pennsylvania. And I'm like, I live in New Jersey. And I went to my mom and I said, Mom, I want to run a tournament. She said, you're not even done with college yet? She's like, go and try to get some kids in college to help you. She gave me some advice. She's like, go and ask some kids. I don't have the money to fund you for $10,000, $20,000 to run a tournament. and you're 20 or 19. She's like, what are you thinking?
And this was back in the day,
Back in
man.
the day, yeah. So I was in this is in college. So I ended up recruiting a bunch of friends through community ways. I used to take them out to lunch and dinner, and so I used to sell domain names. So I sold BillClinton.com for $16,000 in 1995. So I used that money literally to fund my hiring all my friends and taking
Shout
them
out
out
to
to
Slick
lunch.
Willie.
Seriously,
I
to be
love
able to-
that.
Truth. I did get called by the government. Actually reached out to me about it because I was the first person to ever register a president in the world, and I was interviewed, and they made sure it was okay and that I didn't have malintentions for it. That was the key. Anyway.
Wow. Amazing stuff. Now, we fast forward a couple decades. You're here now on Guam, and you're watching the setup for Grapplers Quest.
He's
Guam.
helping BV lay the
That's
match
true.
down with
You're-
the boys.
about.
You're taking the shoes off, and you're
Right.
you're putting the mats down.
Sweating. Sweat.
Sweat.
What
equity.
are you feeling, man?
There was an analogy that I had thinking about when you build something on a rock, right? The mat, after the rock, the mat in a tournament is the first thing you build down on. So the humility to be doing it alongside Brandon, it reminded me of why I loved doing this. We're building it from the ground up. And that's how, and it's not just from the ground up to dominate, it's in the ground to raise the level of the entire, anywhere we go, we want to help improve and help build community and help support the local people and the local businesses. The entrepreneurial spirit is so strong in me. To support people to be great promoters is my greatest joy on earth. I know how much work it takes. I know how much adversarial emotions people face as a promoter. So just to be able to support them to be great promoters, man, we can do that around the world. We'll be shining bright.
Yeah.
Beautiful. B? What say you for your brother, Brian? I mean, I know it's a huge moment. I saw as he was talking, you were looking back here, man. And, we were just watching you earlier. We've got a great team here that's putting this together. And you are leading the charge. You're sweating. You're
Hands-on kind of
feeling,
guy.
man. Tell me
Hands-on
what
sweat equity
you're,
guy.
You're sitting next to Brian. We talked about this a little bit ago, and now it's come to fruition.
Man, I've been competing my entire life since 6th grade. Been getting my ass beat since then. And when I finally got out of the military, not finally got out, when I got out of the military, rehabbed my arm, found my way, and I finally decided what I wanted to do with my life. I saw Randy fighting on TV. I was like, oh, I'm going to do that. How do I get there? I needed to become very proficient in certain things. Striking, no gi grappling along with it, and all of the in-between stuff. And I always say in-between, it's the stuff you don't see. There's stand-up and there's grappling. But in between that, there's a bunch of stuff that happens. So when I say in between, those are 3 things that I need to get good at. So I remember thinking when I first started thinking, how am I going to get there? I don't need to be an expert. I just need to be okay at those 3 things. I need to start doing tournaments, and I start placing at least 3rd in all the tournaments I compete in, so then I know I'm setting a bar for myself.
Yeah, where you stand amongst your peers.
In all the different categories,
Sure.
And Grapplers Quest was in New Jersey. I lived on the East Coast at the time, and it was a 6 to 8 hour drive, driving up to Grapplers Quest, and
Bayonne,
New Jersey. And I had
Marist High School. Shout out to Marist High School.
And you were still living in Virginia.
I was living in Virginia, yes, sir. I had family in Passaic, New Jersey, Clifton, New Jersey, so it was easy sometimes to be able to go hang out with them before I went to the tournament. But I just remember the vibe at Grapplers Quest was different than any other tournament that I've been to in the entire world. And when I say any tournament in the entire world, I've been to the Worlds. I've been to the Olympics. I've been to the Olympic trials. I've been to the World trials. I was training at the Olympic Training Center as a resident athlete. I've been to judo tournaments. I've been to volleyball tournaments. Man, I've been to every single tournament. Swim meets. I've been to all types of events and tournaments.
Can you imagine Brandon the swimmer? Sorry, I'm just...
I cannot.
You can do it
swim.
all.
I cannot swim like that, yeah. But I just never remembered the vibe of the tournament feeling like that. And that vibe is exactly what Guam and the islands, the Philippines and the province is like. And that's what I wanted to bring back. And that's what I want to feel. And so I decided, why not? I mean, anything I've ever tried, we do okay with. let's see what happens, man. So
You're a badass, and he's modest.
I want to build this in a different kind of way where it is community based, where people find value in talking to their neighbor, value in reaching out to their friends for help, where they come on time to help on time, and we stay late into the night eating together, talking story about who got hit with the mat, who fell down, who was throwing stuff out of the truck, who was signing with the ugly signature. Like, man, all the little things that happen, all the little idiosyncrasies that come with putting an event together.
Yeah.
And man, I think in the process of all of this happening, man, it got bigger, and bigger. And it's how it's supposed to be, organic. We didn't even get to promote this, man.
Yeah.
We didn't really get to promote this. I didn't get to promote this until we came
And it's
back
funny.
on island.
Frank, we didn't get to promote this, and we have over 300 participants. I mean, that's
Full house, packed.
that's pretty amazing. Brian, you know,
Thank you, everybody.
if there's anything that I take from this story, by the way, you're listening, you just heard Brandon the Truth Vera give a wonderful, compelling story. But if there's anything, Brian, that tells me, you know, there's not a lot of people on Guam. He was able to drive 8 hours, right, to New Jersey. Not a lot of youngsters that can afford to jump on a plane and go to Grapplers Quest. So was the idea in agreeing to do this, you know, if we can't bring them to the mountain, we bring the mountain to them? Was that pretty much it?
We had amazing competitors that came out from Guam. I met many of them over the years. A lot of them came out to Vegas, mostly to Vegas, the UFC fan expos in those days as well. And I just met so many countries that came, and now, you know, like this is a beautiful territory that I had to like kick myself in the head 10 times to realize that where it was. I remember being humble about it and saying, like, this is the most beautiful place I've ever been to in my life. And I've been to a lot of places. Beautiful from start to finish. But continue. I'm sorry. I lost my mindset in the blue ocean I was thinking about.
You know what? You're thinking about the ocean.
I was thinking about the blues. So many blues.
Frank, we can't blame Brian for that, right? I mean, we've
No,
got
not
a
at
beautiful
all.
place, man. You know?
To say, like, when he was speaking about that,
Yeah.
like, I can really say, like, I was taking a deep breath because, like, to hear maybe how I was raised, because it compliments are given in such real beauty and stories, or why I did this. Not why I did this. It's what happened because we did this. It's awesome that it happened. It was supposed to happen. We were all supposed to become something else. To see Brandon to have come to Grapplers Quest as a young man, a phenomenal wrestler, I may add, badass wrestler for you know, from start to finish, to meet his future jiu-jitsu instructor that would lead him towards his path towards mixed martial arts greatness. Like, that's why I did this. Start, like, I loved when, I think Muhammad Ali said it, from the root to the fruit. I love that.
Yeah.
Nice. Chief, we talked about this, what, maybe a year ago, right?
Yeah,
Discussion?
A little over a year ago.
Now you're sitting
Yeah.
right by the CEO and founder of Grapplers Quest. Thoughts?
You know, like Brandon and Brian have both said, it came as a thought right after his UFC. I'll check that as one championship bout. The next day, we're in the hotel. We're talking. Boom, me and my boy Brian Simmons. We got to do Grapplers Quest. So I'm going. Here's me. Okay, shoot. That'll be fun. It's an event management, right? Plus, as it started to evolve, right, we were able to get the kids, and that's really a big thing. You know, we got our sponsors to cover a lot of our expenses, if not all of our expenses. So we were able to offer it at Brandon's. You know, he was in the States, right? He was in New York doing his legal and his familial stuff. When he came back, and you know, hey, listen, we're gonna do this thing. Let's do it for free. Open it up. And I just thought, oh my God, that's one of those watershed moments, right? As a community resident, it instantly hit me and said, okay, a lot of kids are going to be able to compete because now it's free.
Yes, sir.
And that's exactly where we want to be at, right? So, knowing what sports has done to me, you, and you guys, I know exactly what's going to happen. These kids are going to roll in. They're going to be like, wow. They're going to see world champion, the founder. They're going to see how well run it's going to be, right? They're going to see the acai bowls, the jumpers out there for their siblings, the
video
Gatorade,
games,
the video games right
the
here
gaming.
on set, right?
Mariana's
Some-
Esports.
yeah. You guys can't see what we see, but this
Yeah.
station is
Yeah.
ridiculous. This is really, really nice.
Yeah.
Really, really nice.
And-
Correct. You eventually have to have a camera
wow.
showing your
Yeah.
guys because this set is
Yeah.
beautiful.
So, I mean, there's a lot to be thankful for.
Absolutely.
Right? Brandon's vision, Brian's support, and all our partners, right? We had
Chief
a
and you.
bunch of partners who helped us out. I mean, and they're all around here. You'll see the logos everywhere on social media. I go through them all over again. But without their help, no, this wouldn't happen. So, and I love this stuff.
I want to add something too. Chief is being super humble, man. But when I asked Chief the question, because I mulled it over for a while, because there's a lot of expenses throwing a tournament, and I'm not familiar with our sponsorship budget. I know that our sponsors are taking care of us, and I know we have big sponsors, but tournament's expensive. So I slept on it. I think I thought about it on the plane over, and I was kind of nervous to bring it up. I said, Chief, it was at the end of one of our meetings or podcasts, right?
I think it's one of our podcasts.
It was right at the end of one of our podcasts. I said, Chief, took a deep breath. I said, do you think we can do it for free? Chief immediately said, yes. Let me run some numbers, but yes. So he didn't even really finalize anything yet. He just said yes. So shout out to Chief.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chief, very much for making that happen.
All good,
John
man.
Moffness. Thank you.
Teamwork, right?
But
Teamwork, bro.
That's
Real.
the group.
Thanks to
That's how
Dreamwork, baby.
it's happening.
That's right.
I'm not talking story. This is real. This is
Yeah.
real life happening. Thank
Yeah,
you.
it's organic, bro.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Chief.
Now-
Because I was nervous. I was like, what if Chief says no? Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
Now, did you hear that, Direct? Perfect segue, because he just said, I'm not talking story. So, Brian, I want to talk story.
Hey.
Okay?
Okay.
You've known this man for quite some time. Tell us something that Frank and I and the audience doesn't know about this man. that
PG-13.
Maybe he's going to,
PG-13?
6'2", 6'3", right? What are you carrying now, right?
Yeah.
245 is going to sink into the chair saying, Brian, that was supposed to go to the grave. So, yeah. We can keep
All
it
good
PG,
stories.
PG-13.
Okay.
All good stories. Okay.
All good stories.
Yeah, he just, yeah.
All good stories.
Okay. But a really good one that kind of maybe lets the audience and Frank and me kind of find out a little bit more about him.
Easy.
Okay.
All right, so Brandon called me. Like you said, he had that fight at retirement. It was very emotional to actually watch. It was your friend that he spoke to me about retirement many years ago when he was contemplating leaving another organization for his triumphant journey to the top, which I loved watching.
Thank you, brother.
And-
We talked about how many fights too, huh?
Yes, we did. 6 to 8. It said 6 to 8 remaining.
Shit.
We were in the kitchen
That's
in
right.
San Diego, and yes, and I remember it like it was yesterday.
And it happened that way.
Yes.
We did it the exact same way.
Yes. I also,
Whoa.
well, this wasn't the story I was going to share, but
Sorry.
he went to San
Sorry.
Diego, and it made me think about that. Yes, it is beautiful.
Whoa.
But also, I'll tell you a funny story. So the night that I left his house, his development was it was like being partially developed, and I'll put it this way: it was late night, and it was what it was. All right, don't ever.
We were having good
we
times.
were having a very good time. It was a very good evening. Okay, I was learning new things.
I was learning new things.
Okay.
And
Frank, we should do a show just to figure out that euphemism.
man.
Okay.
That's
new
right.
things,
That's
all
right.
right.
Next.
Man.
So I'm leaving, and I got super paranoid and thought I was going to fall off a cliff. So I called him, and I said, Brandon, I think your development is falling off a cliff, because I'm thinking like it's off. It looked like that. It really did. But it wasn't. Just like I just. So I said.
It was in a mount. It was in a. How do you explain it?
It was a beautiful community on top of a mountain.
It's a part where you go mountain biking in
okay.
the back area. So it's it's something normal you would see in California.
Yeah.
But he's not from California. He's like, hey, there's a cliff here. Like,
So
what is
I
this?
called him and I said, I think I'm lost in your development. I'm going to fall off a cliff. And he goes, Brian, I'll be there in 2 minutes. And he pulls out with this brand new, it was like the movie, it was almost like Back to the Future when Marty comes out with like the cool Toyota like type of moment. And he comes out with this car and this truck jacked up. And the development's underdeveloped, like it's building. So there's huge mountains of dirt. So he takes me where I need to go, puts his arm out the window, and then proceeds to monster truck jump over this cliff,
Oh, no shit.
27 feet in the air, and land. Just put his arm out again and just superhero drove off. It was the coolest thing I ever saw in my life.
Damn.
I was like,
What kind of truck was it? Be a taco or
So
a
listen,
Tundra?
I'm gonna send out a couple shout out. I'm gonna send out a couple shout outs for this because I forgot. Toyota Tacoma.
There you go.
Thank you, Toyo. Even on island, you just keep running. Shout out to Toyo Tires.
Okay.
Toyo Stan at Stan Chen. Thank you for taking care of me and putting new sneakers on my.
Oh,
all
you
my
didn't
rides.
even know you were sponsoring the show, huh?
Yeah.
All right, okay.
I
We'll
have
send you
to,
the bill,
man.
Chief. Don't
but
worry.
listen, we
got you.
proved that
Send
it
it to you.
worked. Nothing broke.
So-
Not one thing broke from that jump.
And that was a moment for me because I learned in that moment what suspensions were.
Yeah.
Because I got it lifted, right?
Yeah.
It was a sponsor lift. ProComp, thank you very much.
Okay, all right.
Well, I got a lift, and I don't know what are they called? Mall rats or mall drivers, like really nice trucks that you never take out.
Mall
right?
crawlers?
Yeah, mall crawlers.
crawlers,
That's
yeah.
the word. I didn't know what that was. I'm a country boy. I'm from Virginia. You use your trucks, you know. So I was like, I got the big tires. I got this lift. Yeah. Brian, check this out. Man, I jumped in, and when it got home, I was like, oh man, I don't think this is right. I don't think it's supposed to land like that. Yeah.
The truck's like this.
Oh my God! So we took it back to ProComp. They took care of it for me. They asked me what I was doing. They're like, "No, this is not that lift." You know. So I learned.
Hey,
It's not that lift.
You don't have
I
kick
learned.
shocks in there, bro.
I learned.
So,
Well,
Brian, how do
me-
you look at that moment and say, God, I want to be this guy's friend for the rest of my life? I mean,
All right, so
most
it
would
leads,
walk
it,
away.
it leads to the real reason, what real story I wanted to
that,
tell
yo.
you. The real that was a fun story. Let me tell you the real. So this
Okay.
leads to that. That type of guy, adventurous, kind, patient, humble beyond measure. Like I met a lot of fighters and a lot of people in my life, and I can admit I was a recovering people pleaser for the last 10 years of my life. So, but
A
finding
recovering people pleaser?
yeah.
Gotcha.
So you can only you can please God or man, right? And if you choose man, you're not pleasing God. So I learned that developing real relationships through beautiful, like true connections. But we also respect. I respected and learned the craft of. It's not a craft. It's actually just being a man that's busy and like I say successful, and knowing more successful people to actually be the friend that doesn't have to talk to you for 5 or 7 months or a couple years. Like I learned more while watching YouTube about Brandon in the last 5 days, last month, than I learned about him. Probably, it's amazing. I love him the same way. I love him more, but that's the beauty is when people are successful, we dream, pray, and support them. But you're not always, if you have a type of intention where you expect to be in somebody's face and in somebody's life all the time, it's very overwhelming for people that know a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I'm like anywhere near like, bro, like, but just running in 20 cities in America, I felt stressed but finding authentic people like Brandon along the path was beautiful. So fast forward to January of 2022. So this is right after retirement. And he calls me up, hits me up on like WhatsApp. He's like, you never answer your phone. You don't respond to my messages. Telegram. Why is your name not real? Like he was like, I'm a crypto guy, whatever. Anyway, long story, but
I'm on him. You know, this is how I am. If you're a real friend, I'm gonna be on you once in a while.
Yeah, like, why aren't
like
you
you should
reaching
be
out?
on me? Yeah.
Why aren't you reaching out? When was the last time you ran an event? Is actually what he first thing he said. When was the last time? I said it was like 8-9 years ago. He's like, why? I was like, like listen, to make short, long story short, I survived. And I'm gonna get through some stuff, and I'm still a little bit in like a little bit of a dark spot, and like the valley of the shadow of death moment, and it was something I went back to after this call. So he was like, "Let's do Grapplers Quest back in Guam." He's like, I want to run them. He's like, you don't have to do it anymore. He's like, I understand. You needed a break, whatever it is, He's like, let me help you. I'll run a show. He's like, you trust me? I'm like, of course. I'll trust you the day I die. And I don't care. Like, it's not, to me, like, I don't care about money, like, business, nothing. This is, to me, is the most beautiful thing, to be able to actually, like you say, if Karate Kid was real and the all karate, like the all state, all county, whatever it was, tournament was real, and you looked at it like this is our Cobra Kai moment.
Yeah.
And to say, like, to come back and to be able to have like that get back up, like usually it's a fighter story, but it's also a promoter story. It's also a life. Everybody goes through things in life. Everyone goes through traumas and heartbreaks and challenges and
Peaks and valleys.
Peaks and valleys. Everyone goes through it. But I love to see people that when they're up and or on the way up, that they reach back and lift somebody up. Because that's why I was taught. That's the way I believe the Bible taught me as well. But I say is we're supposed to love one another, help one another. And he sought me out, and he knew that something was going on. So let me fast forward about 2 years, because we're 2 years ahead, by the way, today, right? To when we spoke.
Yeah, January, yeah.
Yeah, it was 2 years
February,
in 2 weeks probably. So I had to like do a lot of deep gut checking. And in that process, I realized that when you stop doing something that you love, there's a reason. And there's always a reason. But how did I find the reason why I loved and wanted to do it again? Was watching this man's interview. This man Brandon gave an interview when I'll put it this way: I was out of commission and couldn't be on screen. And I was supposed to be on the interviews too, and he took the lead and just ran with it. And he said some things about 5-6 minute interview that I will say during the pits and most darkest moments of my life that I was listening to not give up. And I mean in the greatest of ways. The darkness where things can sometimes.
What did I say?
You can listen back to it. I'll give the Three Blind Mice the masters. And they can make it awesome looking.
That's cool though, man.
But yeah, so you realize that when you're trying to get back up, it's not just business. It's the emotional why, because entrepreneurship is hard. And if you don't have a labor of love, a true passion, desire for exactly doing what you're supposed to do, it's not going to be as great as it can be. If you don't have the team around you that can support you, if God forbid you go through a little triple down in life, people fall sometimes. It should never, no business should ever rely on one person. So Grapplers Quest is a community. It's a family. And that's what I love to be spreading right here to Guam as well.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Cool.
Guys, you're watching Brian Simmons, the CEO and founder of Grapplers Quest. You are tuned in to the VERAfied podcast. I'm John Moftis. They allow me to drive this bus. We got the great Chief Franklin Areola, Brian Simmons, and we have the amazing Brandon the Truth Vera. Gentlemen, wow, Brian, it's wonderful, right? You're the first guest, but it just
inaugural.
Yeah, brother.
Just
inaugural
the spirit, the soul
rightfully
you
so.
got, man.
Rightfully
At
so.
Grapplers Quest.
It's like one of those like Wolf of Wall Street moments for me. Right?
All right.
Thank you.
We come to the segment where, I don't know, it's my favorite segment, and it's funny. I don't know if you've got the very profound Brandon Vera, and then Franklin Ariel. I don't know if when you watch the podcast, he's like just this uber intelligent guy, and he gives all the details, and you just, wow, man, it's almost like a masterclass. And then we ask this, right? And then he just loses his mind, and he's like,
I'm already getting anxious, bro.
he gets nervous. This is my
until
favorite,
this.
right? This is the VERAfied top 5. Again,
I get nervous.
Guam Army National Guard, Truth Apparel, Grapplers Quest, Three Blind Mice,
Awesome.
all of these wonderful people. So here's the topic. But we're going to double up direct, if that's okay? All right. So we're going to ask each one of you 3 the top 5 sports-related movies, okay?
Sports related, okay.
But I want to know, and everybody else can tune in, right? Of course you can, but this is for you specifically, Brian, your own VERAfied top 5. Who are the top 5 grapplers to come out of Grapplers Quest?
Oh, there you go.
Wait.
Rank them.
Wait.
Brandon
So
Vera excluded.
Top 5 grapplers just grappling, or top 5 athletes? Because everybody came out of Grapplers Quest. Let's do grapplers then.
Top
Top 5
just
grapplers.
your top
Okay.
5 guys,
Grapplers,
whoever
yeah.
they
Okay.
may or may not be.
Okay.
Gordon Ryan,
the king.
his
King.
first professional grappling professional win was at Grapplers Quest, June 6th of 2015. It was the last event that I actually ran before today. For
Shout
this
out.
weekend.
Yeah,
Shout
that-
out.
So
that
king.
dude.
the
Gordon
king,
Ryan.
the king, shared a beautiful video, like pay homage and love, like
Thank you.
to 1 million followers, brother. Thank you,
Thank you very much.
Jordan,
man.
I'm telling you, you're getting love from these guys. I mean, wow,
true.
that's what an endorsement. Okay.
I think Ryan Hall is in there,
Oy,
and definitely.
Ryan Hall, yes, sir.
I don't want to rank them after Gordon. I'm going to be confused. I'm just going to randomly, like my brain's going to spark one out.
Okay.
BJ Penn.
BJ Penn, brother.
Okay.
First
That
super
kind.
fight ever in a grappling tournament on the West Coast. And he went against, it was so cool, so profound, because they had run the ADCC trials on the same weekend as the BJJ Worlds. And it was kind of like a dirty move in the sense to get, to, like, he was the best we had. Like, and he couldn't be there. But he went and did what he needed to do, won the world championships. And then we set him up against the winner of the trials, and he smashed him. Shout out to Mike Cardoso. You're awesome. I love you. That was a showcase of absolute dominance and showed how this guy is the prodigy. He's the next.
The Prodigy. Yeah, the Prodigy. Yeah.
Prodigy.
That was his name, the Prodigy.
Okay.
Okay.
So we got Ryan Hall. We
BJ
got
Penn.
Gordon
BJ
Ryan.
Penn. We got Gordon Ryan.
Jeff Glover.
Jeff Glover. Jeff Glover, yeah.
Jeff Glover.
Was Jeff Glover the first inverted guard person
Oh, yeah.
before Ryan, right?
Oh, like 50-50, you mean?
No, Ryan's 50-50 came from Dean Lister, because I'm the one who showed you that. Just so you know, the name 50-50 came from Dean Lister and me training at City Boxing. So the entire grappling world can know that now.
I like
There
that.
you
That's
go.
the truth.
Ryan Hall's the one who,
Okay.
he showed the world 50-50 after he got hold of it. Good job, Ryan.
Okay. So now I know you're not necessarily ranking, but who's that cherry on top?
Bill Cooper. Bill the Grill Cooper.
Bill the Grill Cooper.
Most exciting, prolific.
Do you know all of these guys?
I know everyone that
Okay.
he's naming. Yeah.
Okay.
Bill Cooper is, man. How do you talk about Bill, man? You know that song that came out, started from the bottom, now I'm here. Who's that guy? Dre that sang that song?
Drake, I think.
I think
right?
so.
Yeah.
Bill Cooper is the real started from the bottom guy, and I'm here. All of us have our own story. We all have our own grimy story of how we had to fight to survive, or how we slept on couches, how you had to hope people would feed you, that somebody's having a barbecue. But Bill's got one that I think would be a beautiful movie. And yeah, he's an amazing person. For him to come through everything he's gone through and still show the world how amazing he is and become a badass grappler like he did. Yeah, man, he's got and he's the one that not many people know about, that should know about. Yeah.
It could be a 3 Blind Mice documentary, maybe. I'm just saying. I got all the
Yeah.
master footage.
I
Let's
love
go.
it. Chief,
Yeah.
what if we get his top 5 Grapplers Quest, right? And try if you can. I mean, you almost have to put Gordon Ryan in there, but give me a different 4 if you could.
You know, so shout out to the king, Gordon Ryan, because, man, nobody's been that dominant ever. Marcelo Garcia was dominant like him for a time, but even Marcelo Garcia wasn't predicting and futurizing his submissions
Yeah.
to the crowd, you know?
Calling it, right?
And call it, no, man, no. So the king, but, you know, for me, my list is different because this is what made me, okay? Grapplers Quest was so cool and so one of a kind of itself, that the people that would show up just to hang out, and man, you have to understand, tournaments are long, drawn out days. They're long tournaments. They're tournament days. Renzo Gracie would come kick it and watch the tournaments. Matt Serra would come out and come watch tournaments and come kick it and hang out with us and answer questions and take photos. And this is before they were blown up in the world of mixed martial arts. But they were Abu Dhabi people. They were already stars amongst,
Yeah.
I guess, our crowd, the fight crowd.
Your
you
peers,
know?
yeah.
And man, they were the coolest guys in the world. And there was another one that I want to mention. He was the heavyweight UFC champ at a time. He was hanging out with them. I can't remember who he was. The name is not coming to me right now, but he would be another person that I would put on that list of grapplers, because they're all amazing grapplers, all the ones. The other one that I would put in that list, man, that meant a lot to me, is Jamal Patterson. Jamal Patterson's he's been a badass black belt since he was throwing me on top of the tables and throwing me into the barriers and choking me almost unconscious. He is somebody that I had to learn how to chase. He is somebody that I learned to respect. He's somebody that I learned could literally whoop my ass, that I had to get better and become something better than him. So Jamal Patterson, and just on top of that, Jamal ended up, I don't know if I ever beat Jamal. I don't know, I think Jamal, I might have got closer and closer and closer every time to where he wasn't tapping me and I was only losing by points, like maybe 1 or 2 points at the end. But Jamal ended up becoming an MMA fighter as well, and he went his own separate path and did his own beautiful career as well. So Jamal Patterson, for me, was a little bit more intimate, and he was a badass. He was winning gold at all the tournaments at the time.
Very nice.
That's it.
Okay, I love it. Okay, real quick, because our director Bojo is saying you got to move this quick.
OT.
Taking too long.
All right. Chief,
Sorry,
let's
Drake.
start with
Sorry,
you.
Drake.
Top 5 sports-related movies.
Okay, I can barely count, right? but there's a bunch. But the one just really popped out of my head was my very first one that I really enjoyed. It's in the 70s. It was called I Am Third, starring Billy D. Williams as Gale Sayers and James Caan as Brian Piccolo. Brian Piccolo, they're both running backs for the Chicago Bears, NFL. Brian Piccolo died from cancer, and it was the story of his life.
Okay.
They were both rookies, came in together, and the whole black-white thing, right? They didn't like each other for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
Well, no, check that.
At the time. I
Gale
understand
Sayers
that.
at the time was, he's very skeptical, right? And Brian Piccolo is a really super outgoing guy. They became like brothers. And and so.
You know what's funny, Chief? I love that movie.
Yeah.
I just forgot what it was called, so yeah, I'm
I
going to
Am
look
Third.
that up. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
my-
terrific
I Am
movie.
Third?
What is it? The Lord is first, my friends are second, and I am third. And it was the Gale Sayers story
Beautiful.
about Brian Piccolo. So that was
Very
one.
nice.
That's what I remember because I was a young guy and I just thought, wow, this is freaking cool, right? Another, it's not so much a movie, but more of a series. I'm a Michael Jordan guy, The Last Dance, right? It's a 6-part series of
Absolutely.
the Chicago Bulls
Oh.
90 to 96
I haven't
run.
seen that yet. I'm
Oh,
gonna watch
you
that.
gotta watch that,
That was my
man.
favorite time of basketball.
Yeah, oh, dude. Yeah.
You got to binge it,
It,
B.
it gets all behind the
Gotta binge.
scenes, and it's a tell-all. I mean, they all go at it, and they're very
Y'all
candid
text
with
me
each
this
other.
list, please.
Of
Yeah.
course, FBA is going to
Yeah.
he's
Sorry.
going to throw in the Last Dance documentary.
Yeah,
of
but
course.
that's the only thing I can remember. So you guys start, and I'm sure my memory will kick. Oh yeah, that one. I'm
All
sure.
right.
I'm sure there's some surfer movies.
Well, I'm going to
out there.
inspire. I'm going to throw out one. You mentioned football. The original Longest Yard, not that garbage with Adam
yeah.
Sandler,
Burt
but
Reynolds.
Burt Reynolds.
Burt Reynolds,
the
yeah.
original one,
Ah,
That was a
yeah,
good one.
Yeah, amazing.
That's a classic.
That is
They
classic.
actually the remake with Michael Irvin and Adam Sandler.
Yeah. Now, you're a golfer. I don't know if you guys golf. I'm not a golfer.
I
But
drive.
sports movies, you got to watch Tin Cup, right?
Okay.
Yeah, Kevin Costner.
Kevin Costner. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a Ron Shelton movie. Good stuff.
Yeah, he's on
Okay.
a par 5 second shot, 3 wood in the water like 15 times.
Of course, he's going to know the specifics. Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
Ready. Number one, and I'm actually going to relate him to Grapplers Quest because actually it was very, very pivotal in helping build it in my heart and mind as a young man. First, Vision Quest.
Yes. Vision Quest.
Matthew Modine.
Yes.
One of the best wrestling movies ever
Yes.
made.
Yeah.
Probably shouldn't have been watching it when I was as young as I was, but whatever it is, what it is.
Vision
Hey,
Quest.
you gotta learn sometime.
Yes,
What a
sir.
terrific
Second, Karate Kid. 100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uh,
You
the
even referenced
tournament-
that earlier.
yeah.
Absolutely.
That's good one.
The tournament in Karate Kid was probably the most pivotal emotional thing about
For you?
to make
Yeah.
want to make a Grappler's Quest because it felt so cool, especially with the big board with the sliding
the
sliding
names.
names. So cool, so cool. All right.
I like that.
Next, probably Rocky 2.
Oh, the Rocky series.
2
Yeah.
and Rocky 4. I'll put both of those, Rocky 2 and Rocky 4, for totally different reasons. I think everyone loves an underdog story, and the triumph of getting back up after like losing everything is even cooler. So that's why I like 4, because it's like he came back, he lost everything, and man, you got to get back up, because sometimes it happens, but we don't lose our tenacity and what we learn in the process of persevering. So I love those stories. And lastly, I'll probably say I love Days of Thunder, man. I love Days of Thunder. It's just like made me want to be a NASCAR. My grandmother was a NASCAR enthusiast.
We all watched
fan.
that and thought we were all going to be race car drivers.
I got to go around. I got to go around one time Daytona. We went to Daytona. Wow. I worked with a company, a crypto project in the U.S., and that was their like sporting event. I got to race around in a Corvette, a C8.
You drove it.
No. I was a passenger, bro. I would have loved to have driven it, but I wasn't. But the time, I would just say, the feeling of coming out and the last turn when you're coming out, the G-force is so extreme, but there's an emotional lift because you see the huge grandstand. It's one of the coolest feelings. I think everybody should experience it in life. You come that last turn, you see it's the coolest feeling ever. Yeah. It's like one or 1.5 G. It's beautiful at like 155 miles an hour.
Oh yeah.
Well, taking a turn 150, no problem. 1.5 G.
But listen, shout out to Chevrolet with their C8. That the Corvette that was in the center. That was of all the other cars. And I'm sorry, Ferrari. I'm sorry. These things are wobbling around. That C8 stuck like nothing else I've ever seen drive.
America.
That's it, Merca.
C8. Shout out
that is
to Corvette.
A great list there, my friend.
I'll take one in blue.
Great list.
Yeah.
B?
He already took my top 2. Vision Quest for sure was the first movie that I tried to imitate when I started training. So Vision Quest is tied to me so much. I was literally trying to use poles and logs on my back going up bleachers because that's what he did in the movie to become strong.
Shoot.
So Vision Quest, Karate Kids, all of them, all the Karate Kids. I'm part Asian, man,
Karate Kid was good. That was good for you.
So all the Karate Kids, and then I don't really have a top 5 and something that's a little bit more in tune with my darker side that I am a fan of that you don't consider a sport, but I do. Gladiator.
Oh yeah.
Gladiator.
Russell Crowe?
Russell Crowe. You play for keeps.
Hall of Fame, bro.
You play for keeps in that. It's the same thing that we do, but there's only one winner. And only one person goes home, So that was probably my favorite movie, and the fact that he had to go through all sorts of adversity, not just on a sports event, but life. Like everything that could happen bad to you happened, and he had to fight his way from the dirt in his hands back all the way up to destroy a dictator king and make his dream still become a reality. So for me, that's
definitely.
Oh, Joe, I love this list.
That's a Hall of Fame just all around. Not even just all around.
I'm going to throw in an obscure movie. If you guys haven't seen it, go see it. Tom Hardy, Warrior.
Yes.
Tom Hardy.
That's a good one. I can take that one.
Wow.
I like Tom Hardy quite a bit. And I'm a little bit distracted, I know, not to segue or anything, but I keep looking. I'm counting the mats.
No, man.
They're at fucking mat. They're installing mat number 7.
This is
out of 8.
almost done.
But can I just tell you, it's so funny, right?
Sorry. I keep looking over like,
it's a good feeling.
We should just be excited about the fact that we've got Grapplers Quest. But for me, it's you get the frame. When I see the blue, I'm like, oh my God, we're there.
Can I give you the it's called promoter piece. There's like there's certain things that when they're there and when they start happening, there's a promoter piece that happens. And it's almost like a release in your heart. Maybe it's just for me, but I'm just letting you know. That's what I'm feeling.
Maybe it feels
promoter
like
piece.
I can breathe easier.
What's funny, right? Direct. Usually at this point, we have a truism, right? But I think that that's a great truism to end on, right? Peace.
Promoter piece.
All right.
Peace.
Why not?
For Chief Frank, for Brandon the Truth Vera, for our wonderful, amazing guest, Brian Simmons.
There we go.
I'm John Moftis.
Here we
I
go.
want to thank all our brand partners again.
Thank you.
This is the very first live stream episode of VERAfied Podcast. Thank you, audience. Thank you, Three Blind Mice, Guam Army National
I take back all
Guard.
the bad words. Sorry, guys.
Oops.
Gentlemen,
All right.
Truth Apparel, all of our great GTA
Guam Army National
Fence
Guard.
Masters,
Fence
Ignite Juice,
Masters,
Acai
Ignite
Juice,
Ken LePay
Ken
from
LePay.
Brand Inc.
Inc., Next Level, Marianas Esports,
VERAfied podcast. Brian Simmons. The
Ignite
Truth Apparel.
Juice, Fuck Eye,
Yeah.
right? Just love to all our volunteers. Please, I want to invite everybody this weekend. Grapplers Quest Guam,
Saturday,
UOG,
Sunday.
Calvo
Calvo
Fieldhouse,
It's happening.
a.k.a. VERAfied Podcast HQ. We are out. Thank you so much. You've been verified.
Peace.